Not an abundance of restaurants around here, is there?
I haven't seen any. I just noticed the Coney Island restaurant, but I'm afraid it's been shut for 30 years.
Having failed to find even a takeout, we started to look for a hotel. But there wasn't one of those either. So we decided to buy a house.
Let me show you what we've got. Handsome vestibule, feature tile floor. Front room here, feature fireplace, loads of light from all these windows. This, I would say, use as a dining room because it's adjacent to the kitchen, needs the appliances refitting, not a big job. In there, I would say that's a really handy games room, TV room overlooking the garden and the double garage. Here, perfect for a home office, maybe a snug. Upstairs, 4 bedrooms, and here's the kicker. An independent granny flat with its own kitchen, so Jeremy can live up there semi-independently for as long as he can manage. And the price, $2,200.
Is that really only, what was it, $2,200?
Yeah.
1,800 quid?
Yeah, I know, it's amazing, isn't it?
So I'll show you something else amazing. Captain Slow has fallen for this eco-allotment claptrap.
I haven't fallen for it, and it's not claptrap, it's just a vegetable plot. It's only a bit.
Yes, buy food and grow it.
Why not?
It's a farmer's job. Turning a city into a vegetable garden is ridiculous.
No, who's turned a city into a vegetable garden?
That's what they want to do, and you're just encouraging them. Detroit should be for petrol heads. It should be for massive V8s like our cars.
It's a great idea by a city that's having a bad time and trying to use its initiative. What's wrong with it? And it's not as if there's any vegetables in the shops. New is better.
I am not listening to any more of this. I am going to go off. I'm going to find a shop. I'm going to come back with burgers.
But you can have some curly kale in them.
Bloody allotment. Just because he's become a vegetarian doesn't mean that absolutely everybody has to be one.
Don't be a moron.
Well, I can't get out. He's parked in the way, haven't it?
Well, on that terrible disappointment, back to the tent.
You asked for it. You asked for it.
You never got the burgers either.
No, you didn't. We shall pick that up later on, but now it is time to drop the car keys of chat down the drain of debate on Conversation Street.
That's all real.
Really?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Can I just begin by saying that I think the very concept of incongruity was defined in that film in Detroit by James May, the slowest moving man in history, driving around in a car called The Exorcist.
Yeah, it just doesn't work, does it? James May is the exorcist.
No, I mean, if he's going to have a car, it should be called The Florist.
Yeah. Or the organist.
Simple change to that. The Onanist.
Nice.
I think the Onanist would work well.
Have you quite finished?
Yeah.
Good. Actually, I'd like to talk about Motor City. More specifically, what's happening to it?
I'll tell you what's happening to it. It is being slowly ruined by vegetabilists.
Oh, God.
It is.
Look, there are 2 million acres of land in Detroit, OK? Would anybody like to guess how many acres have been given over to allotments?
6.
I'll tell you, it's 3.
3 acres.
3 acres.
And he's driven over 2 of them.
Exactly.
Yes, and rightly so. It's like cancer.
It's not like cancer.
It is. It's like saying if you said I've got 2 billion cells in my body and only 3 are cancerous, so I shall do nothing. You don't. You cut them out.
Yeah, but cancer is a serious threat to your health.
Well, so are vegetables.
You do know you're mad.
No, I tell you what I'm mad about. I'm mad as hell about Detroit. Because in 1960, that was the richest city in America, the richest. And now it is the poorest. And no other city anywhere in the world has collapsed that quickly.
What about Hiroshima?
Apart from Hiroshima.
Pompeii.
Yes, apart from Hiroshima and Pompeii, no city has collapsed as fast as Detroit has. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's incredible the scale of it. There used to be 43 car factories in Detroit. 43. Now, 2.
Wow.
Just 2.
Yeah. I actually think it's because America won the war, which weirdly...
Vietnam?
Really?
No, I was lying. They lost that one.
Oh, Not in all the films, they didn't.
No, no, they won in the films, but actually, when you add up all the battles they won, weirdly, they lost the war. Incredible, yeah.
No, I'm actually talking about World War II, because at the end of that, Japan had lost its empire, so it lost all its resources, so they were forced to make compact, economical, efficient cars. And then the oil crisis hit in 1973, and the Americans, with their big V8s, were forced to buy small, compact, economical cars from Japan, and then realised they were better.
No, I think it's because American cars are too cheap.
Too cheap.
It's a business thing. That's the problem.
Sorry, everyone, I fear we are about to get an economic lecture from Chancellor Hammond here.
Well, no.
The other Chancellor Hammond.
No, you are. Now, concentrate. Let me put this into context for you. A lot of supercars have arrived on the scene recently. I've got pictures of them. This is the McLaren Speedtail. That's 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah.
Cost £2.1 million.
And its wheels are odd.
Yeah, they are. They don't match. This is the Aston Martin Valkyrie. That's 1,000 horsepower again. £2.5 million. This one, that's the Ferrari FXXK Evo. 1,000 horsepower, £3.5 million.
Best looking Ferrari of all time,
It does look amazing. Yeah, it does.
It is absolutely staggering. However, they've all got 1,000 horsepower, which means they will all be undrivable.
Yeah, whereas my Exorcist has 1,000 horsepower and is undrivable for under £100,000. There's no advantage.
Yes, and that's exactly my economic point. They're selling them too cheap. They're just giving it away.
Yeah.
If American car makers doubled the price of the cars that they sell, bear with me, they would double the money that they make. It's not that complicated when you think about it, if you follow the logic.
I've said before, the wrong Hammond is in charge of Britain's...
Yeah. It is incredible. You've got supply and demand graph. If you take away the demand axis, life becomes much easier when it's all just supply.
Precisely. The Hellcat that I was driving was priced at £67,000.
Yeah.
People are now selling them, that same car, second-hand, for £120,000. And one bloke has advertised one for £500,000. So that means they were too cheap, and I'm right.
It is hard to argue with that.
Unassailable.
And we don't have time, so let's move it on. Because you may remember in the very first show of the Grand Tour in the first season, I was blown away by McLaren P1.
Yeah, I do remember. You said it would be faster than the Porsche 918 and the Ferrari, And, no, wait a minute. It wasn't, was it? And as a result, the only thing that got blown away was your house.
Yes, that's undoubtedly true.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it remains to this day the most exciting, most brutal, most visceral car I've ever driven. And I didn't think it could ever be topped. But McLaren have given it a bash. And I thought, well, if they've built a car that can out-P1 a P1, I'd better test it somewhere a bit less narrow and a bit less tree-lined and a bit less covered in deers and badgers than the Ebola drone. So I took it to the fastest racetrack in Europe, which is... Actually, anyone want to guess which it is? No, not Monza. Not Spa.
Do you know?
What?
Do you know?
Of course I know.
You know?
Yes.
That's unusual.
Why is it unusual?
Well, you didn't know any of the answers on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, did you?
No, they didn't ask me any of the questions I knew the answers to. That's what it was.
No, but it's not called Who Wants to Know Things Jeremy Happens to Know, is it?
Thruxton.
What is?
Thruxton is the fastest racetrack in Europe. So that's where I took the new McLaren.